There is nothing to worry about. You're gonna be just fine.
You'd be surprised at the things you find when you go looking.
God, it knows I'm here.
Clear your mind. It knows what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
I'm plunging headfirst into some kind of black void of sheer, utter madness.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
It is entitled Naturan de Manto, roughly translated Book of the Dead.
You're gonna die up there.
I've got to return some videotapes.
Hello, I'm Chris,
And I'm Joe.
and this is In the Veins, and today we are talking about Abigail.
Abigail, action vampire flick from 2024.
Yeah.
You know what? I saw this one in the theaters and I really enjoyed it. It's one of those ones I keep meaning to watch again, and I just didn't give it a chance to. I'm really glad that I rewatched it for this because it held up. It was a blast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just so
And
fun.
until the second viewing, and looking at some of the trivia for it, because there are direct references, but it's in the micro genre with Dusk Till Dawn. Crime movie that all of a sudden turns into Trapped with Vampires.
That's true. That's true. Oh, I have some data here to get through. So Abigail, 2024, directed by it's a directing duo, Matt Bertinelli Oplin and Tyler Gillette, and written by Stephen Shields and Guy Busick. The two directors and one of the writers, Guy Busick, this is the same team that brought us Ready or Not, which is getting its sequel this year or next year.
I
I
love
think.
Ready or Not.
Yeah, Ready or Not.
In the
2
future,
is-
we should cover Ready or Not.
Yes. And I think that there's you can definitely see the connective tissue of like action oriented, that stylized hyper violence that you usually only see in or in extreme gore. You
Yeah.
usually only see in indies.
And Trapped in a Mansion.
And Trapped in a Mansion. Yeah, I am I am excited to see the. I do want to see Ready or Not again. I remember seeing that in the theater and not knowing what I was looking until the last couple of frames, and I'm excited to see the sequel. Here I come.
We just rewatched it recently, and it's real good.
That's awesome. So it stars Melissa Barrera as Joey, Dan Stevens as Frank. I have a rule. I tell people this. Anytime Dan Stevens is in a movie, I have a good time watching it.
Yes.
He's a mark of quality. Alicia Weir plays the wee vampire Abigail, but you don't know that yet. William Catlett plays Rickles. Catherine Newton plays Sammy. Recently enjoyed her in Lisa Frankenstein. A number of others. She's terrific.
Well, she's just a horror staple at this point.
She is. She's
starting with Supernatural.
She is rising up as a maybe not a scream queen, but certainly a final girl here in this post the mid-20s era.
Well, but I mean, she's both.
Yeah.
She played a 45-year-old male serial killer.
So then we got Kevin Durand as Peter, which I always remember him from the Guillermo del Toro led TV show about the vampires.
Oh, The Strain. Yeah,
The Strain. I like him a lot.
I like him a lot too, but unfortunately, the first thing I always think of is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Because he's the... what is he?
He's the Blob.
The Blob, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Until this moment, it did not click in my brain that was him, because I do remember him early in the film. And then they put him in that amazing
fat
makeup,
suit, yeah.
the fat suit, and it is, he's a good actor.
He's real good.
Angus Cloud as Dean. It's supposed to be Dean. My autocorrect changed it to Dead. Giancarlo as...
He is, though.
He is. Giancarlo Esposito as Lambert. Love Giancarlo Esposito has this like post Breaking Bad career where he is just appearing everywhere as essentially the same guy.
Yeah. He's deadpan evil and smarter than you. That's his thing.
And he has his own action figure. Thank you, Star Wars. And then a brief appearance at the end of Matthew Good as Father. Which we can talk about that when we get there, but not his first vampire role.
Nope.
Came out April 19th, 2024. with a budget of 28 million. Worldwide gross, this is interesting. Worldwide gross was 42.79 million, which isn't terrible. That's
No.
pretty good. This is a success. US and Canada gross only 25, only a little over 25, almost 26 million. So in the US, not a huge hit.
What now? But when did this come out?
2024,
Oh,
April
okay.
19th. I
Yeah.
mean, like, it's, summer blockbuster season. That's a lot to compete with.
I just-
you got bankable, like, you've got some stars, but it's an ensemble piece. It's not that kind of a movie.
It's
You know
not.
what I mean?
But I wonder how much they count like streaming rentals and stuff.
It is difficult to calculate at this point, yeah.
Because I feel like this is one of those that I was excited to see it
Mm-hmm.
for rent on Amazon, like
Right.
pretty quick after it hit the theaters. It was one of those still in theaters
Right.
rentals on Amazon, I believe, and that's got to be skewing the box office.
I mean, and I think that was one of the things that the most recent strikes were over, was the fact that, like, there are certain things, back end points and stuff that you get where the amount of profit that the movie makes, you get a percentage of that or whatever as a star of it. And that typically only counts box office revenue. So
Yeah.
then a studio can pull a backhanded deal and pull it out of the theater faster and move it on to streaming, still make revenue, but just not
Yep.
pay the stars. So it is a gray area. And I mean, you and I aren't going to figure it out because we're
No,
neither the
no.
movie executive nor the agent nor the star. But that's kind of wild.
I don't know I haven't heard anything solid, but I've heard talks of a sequel for this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but
I don't know. With them working on Ready or Not 2,
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna be next.
a priority.
yeah.
But I would love more in this universe. I love crime vampires.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool concept.
I'd like a prequel. I'd like to see Abigail being Vasquez,
Yes, Valdez.
you know? Valdez.
Valdez.
Yes, Valdez.
Yes, she's the oil tanker that that leaked. That's not funny. Lots of ducks. That's all I know about that. There are lots of ducks that they had to clean with Dawn dish soap. Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about this particular movie.
Yes.
So, the opening credit sequence gets right into it. So as the credits are rolling, we're seeing Abigail.
Well, before we get into the plot and stuff,
Yes.
this was originally going to be basically a remake of Dracula's Daughter.
That's I went up too, and now I got to see Dracula's Daughter. Apparently,
Well, but they sort of veered away from that because it was going to be Dracula's Daughter, and when they were trying to sort of rebuild the Universal like dark universe with the Tom Cruise Mummy,
Right.
Dracula Untold. I'm not sure if they did anything else, but I mean they had Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in that Mummy movie as sort of a soft lead into what would have been a solo movie for that.
right.
So they were trying to do that, and this was going to feed into all of that before they gave up on it and decided to just let it be its own thing. Which I just thought was worth noting before we got into it, that the genesis of it was
It started as one thing. Well, I partway through it, I have other notes about other potential lost drafts of this movie that I think will prove interesting. But we'll get there when we get there.
okay. Carry on.
Carry on. So, so we get opening credits over. We're doing a back and forth montage type of thing. Abigail is doing a ballet performance in an empty theater, performing Swan Lake, because it's ballet in a movie that's like rated R. I guess, like, we're not getting too into it as far as like deep cut ballets. That's the one we know. That's the one we're doing. The music is recognizable, and then we're intercutting that with two different crews kind of working the same, what turns out to be the kidnapping of Abby heist. So we've got we cut to well, just get the names they eventually are given. Joey, and she is. She's got a candy fixation. Obviously, she puts a lollipop in her mouth, and as she's waiting, like in a dark alley, and then the van pulls up. She takes the lollipop, puts it back in the wrapper, puts it back in her pocket, gets in the van, and so crew number one is on abduction, and that is Joey, who is as we later will find out is kind of the medic. She is going to be the caretaker for Abby. Frank,
And our final girl.
and our final girl, Frank, who is the leader. The de facto leader of the group, of the crew, and Peter, who is the muscle, clearly.
Yeah.
And then we're cutting between that and crew number 2, which includes Sammy the hacker, Dean the obnoxious driver, and Rickles the sniper.
Yes.
The sniper seems like a weird addition to a kidnapping crew, but each to their own.
Well, he's the the muscle is there to handle the close-up stuff, but the gunfighter is there in case things go really wrong.
Right, right. And I mean, every crew needs like 2 thugs. Isn't that like a rule?
Well, yeah, but he's also there he's there for cover in case they need to make a wild escape.
Hasty retreat.
Yeah.
So, the crew 2 is there to kind of like, as we'll see as it plays out, Dean is the driver, so he's getting them in and out of the away to the safe house. Sammy is the hacker. She's there to break down the house's electronic defenses to let them get in, to let crew 1 get in. Rickles is kind of just watching over, making sure nothing untoward happens to them while they're sneaking in and out. And then, so after that, we follow Abigail as she leaves the hall. They are tracking her movements, it turns out, and she goes home and she is alone in the house. And crew 1 is already in the Abigail's room, hiding, waiting for her to essentially get off the phone with her father. And the second she does, they try to grab her. She stabs Frank's hand with is it a pencil or something?
I think so. Yeah.
And then Joey has to stop Frank from just like backhanding her. And then they inject her with drugs.
Knockout drugs.
Knockout drugs,
The famous movie Knockout Drug.
I gotta love it. And then they're going out, and it turns out that they're coming home. You got to go out. They're coming in the front. You got to go out the back. It's this whole little thing, and they're going out the back, and everything seems cool. And then all the lights on the grounds turn on, and they have to make a mad dash for the back gate. Dean swings around, picks them up, and then they're heading for the safe house. They're getting out of the city. We get a little bit of business. Joey checks on Abby to make sure that check her heart rate and all that jazz. Puts a blindfold on her.
Which is, in this world, vampires have a pulse.
That is true. We are dealing with a very specific, a lot of very specific world building kind of vampire. This is what vampires are.
Yeah.
Type of jazz with this movie.
Now, if you hadn't seen any of the trailers, if all you had was the movie, you don't know she's a vampire yet. But they did give away the whole fucking store in the trailers.
Yes.
So.
And I, like I said, I have ideas about that. So she checks on Abby. She puts a blindfold on her. She treats the stab wound that Frank got in his hand. And he's like, you don't ever do that again, because I'm a bad guy. And Dean, we get a little bit of why Dean is there, because honestly,
he just seems like a dumbass.
He is a dumbass.
Yeah,
but he proves his worth where they're like, oh, we're going to have to take like an alternate route because there's cameras and stuff. And he just he drives skillfully maneuvering with a truck in the way to block the view of the cameras so that they
he is very good at his job. He's just, that's all he's good at.
Yeah, he's just an asshole. Who's clearly on drugs.
He's also unbothered. He doesn't lose his shit, which is...
That is true. He never kind of freaks out.
Yeah.
So then, and we get the whole thing that nobody is using their real name. It's very, it's very crime movie.
Well, yeah.
That, you don't want anybody to use the real name that way. Nothing, if anybody gets busted or whatever, nothing can be traced back to you. All that jazz.
I mean, the first thing I think of is Reservoir Dogs.
Obviously,
but
that was exactly what I thought of actually.
Yeah.
So they get to the safe house, which is a sprawling mansion out in the country, and I found this. I made a note of this. When they pull up to the gate, they don't do anything. The gate just opens for them automatically, and they kind of give a look. And I wondered if there was something in that they're like, oh, this house looks like kind of like an old mansion, but there's a degree of automation to it that we aren't privy to yet.
Yeah.
And we're trying to foreshadow that. Concepts of like control, manipulation or something from unseen forces,
it doesn't look like the kind of place that would have electric gates.
It doesn't. And then it's also just like in a wider kind of abstract storytelling sense, it's like there are forces at work that are unseen. Like electronic radio waves and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm trying to read into it, but whatever. I'm trying to do a podcast about
That's what we're here for.
So then we meet up with Lambert at the house. He's the one that set all this up and brought the crew together. And Abigail gets they put Abigail in a bedroom, lock her up, handcuff her hands behind her back, and then Lambert gathers them together and gives them all the details of the job. It's going to be 24 hours. And only Joey gets to actually see Abigail. Everybody else just stay out of the fucking room. We don't want her to have any details of your voice or
minimize the exposure.
Yes, exactly. Also, $50 million for like at least 7 people? Question mark? Doesn't seem like enough.
I mean, it's 7-ish a piece.
I guess that's true. All right.
For one night's work.
Yeah. Okay. 7-ish a piece isn't bad. Okay. I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, hey, we've already driven here. We don't have anything else to drive anybody to. Shoot Dean in the head, and now our shares go up. You know, we're criminals.
Yeah.
We're criminals, remember? We're like, the fuck? Anyway, everyone has to give up their cell phone to, he's like going to lock up their cell phones so that they can't be tracked or anything like that. And Joey briefly looks at her lock screen and reveals an image of her and her son. Mm-hmm. And blah, blah, blah. The doors stay locked. Abigail stays isolated. And then Lambert assigns everybody their Rat Pack names, which is itself going to be kind of emblematic. They are the Rat Pack. They are rats in a maze. They are, toy things.
Well, and when he doesn't call, he calls them his pack of rats.
Right. It's very cute. And then we have, so then we cut to a scene of them just hanging out, trying to kill time. Everybody starts drinking, except for Joey, very notably. And they start speculating about who Abigail's dad is, who he could be to afford such ransom. And Dean, the driver, claims he can read people and tries to read the crowd and just fails miserably because he's an idiot. Joey proves that she can read people. She starts betting people like $100? Like they're like, here's $100. Yeah. What can you tell me about me? And she goes around the room and nails everybody, as it turns out. She kind of hurts Dean's feelings. And then Frank, who she reveals as an ex-cop.
Yeah. He really doesn't like it.
He really doesn't like it. And he reads her and he's like, oh yeah, well, you and your fucking candy and you won't drink with us. You're a recovered drug addict.
Yeah. Cop knows a junkie.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, that's what she is.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice that we get Lambert talking to them is like a download scene expositionally. It goes fast, largely because Giancarlo Esposito is a great actor and he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
But
it's also the first time you get, I mean, you get what's going on. They kidnap this girl, but now you understand the parameters,
right?
Right.
And
the timeline. You've got 24 hours to sit here.
Right. And it's difficult to do a crime movie with this without some kind of like an information download like that.
Oh yeah.
But this does a nice job of getting exposition out in a more organic way. Mm-hmm. So that I like that a lot.
And we've talked before about how, like, first off, the writing's good.
Yes.
They don't give us more than we need. They don't make it, They
don't beat you over the head.
Yeah. But also the actors are really good. And if the actors are really good and the writing's good, I'll take an exposition dump. It's going to be, I mean, shit, the why everybody's scared of John Wick monologue in the very first John Wick is one of the greatest exposition dumps in the history of cinema, in my opinion.
Right.
Because it's just so well done. I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing if you do it right.
Right, but it's just something that you do have to be aware of. Like, I feel like, because an exposition, especially in a film, which is supposed to be show, don't tell.
Right.
Anytime that, like, action has to halt for somebody to talk a bunch, it becomes, a clock starts ticking somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so it is something to be aware of when a filmmaker does it. Like, if you're going to invest in it, it has to pay off. Yeah. And it has to work.
The action halted for it, but they replaced the action with the, like, back and forth sort of conflict and tension between the characters.
Yeah.
It's clear nobody likes each other, and the Rat Pack names are really kind of a joke. He's making fun of them. And
right.
Yeah, there's more going on than just he's telling us what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, there's a subtext to it that pays off later, and it makes it very fun.
Yeah, but the reading each other scene is also exposition. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
it's
it just rolls
exposition
right
done
into-
in a different way, and it's exposition that doesn't feel as expo dumpy. You know what I mean?
because she's Sherlocking.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So then we go to Joey has to go check on Abigail. So she wears a she goes to check on Abigail. Abigail wants her blindfold off, so she puts like a mask over her face so she can take off Abigail's blindfold and not reveal her face. She recuffs her hands in front of her so that she's not hurting her hands behind her back, and then she pinky promises Abigail that no one will hurt her. Stuff which in retrospect, knowing where the film is going, is like Abigail's sick. She's a twisted individual.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abigail uses the opportunity to start like trying to get information out of Joey about, anything. Like she's really like it comes across as a little girl just like asking idle questions, but she's trying to weasel information out of Joey.
Yeah.
And it ends with it ends up going into Abigail giving a little bit of information about how the nature of her relationship with her father, how he's essentially lost interest in her unless she's being exceptional.
Right. He thought he wanted a kid.
Yeah, but what he wanted was a distraction.
Yeah.
And now that it's lost its novelty, he doesn't really care. So then we go back to them drinking more. Time has passed, and you get definite vibes that if it weren't for the vampire action, Sammy was going to bang Peter. That was going that way.
Yeah.
That she's definitely interested in him. And Joey expresses her concerns to Frank again about who Abigail's father is, and are they potentially getting into more of a situation than they really want to.
Yeah.
So she kind of puts an itch in Frank, and so Frank goes into Abigail's room. He didn't realize that her blindfold was off, so he goes in the room, and immediately she sees his face, and he freaks out a little bit and tries to cover his face up.
Yeah, he does not handle that well.
No, and so he ends up pulling a gun at her and telling her to look away and all this jazz, and he tries to get information about who her father is, and ask her if her father is Christophe Lazare. Just picking something up there. Picking up my water bottle. So then we go to everybody kind of round. It's a round table in the at the bottom of the stairs. And Abigail's father is Lazare, who is and Frank immediately is like, we need to go now.
Oh yeah, he doesn't even tell everybody. He just comes down and says, "I'm leaving."
Yeah.
He's just 7 million. It turns out is not enough.
It is not enough to fuck with Lazare. And, the question goes around, who is Lazare? And it's revealed that he's kind of he comes across as like a Kaiser Soze figure.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say Kaiser Soze. He's this mythical, untouchable.
9 mythical, like, criminal boogeyman.
But the scariest thing is that
he's real.
He will get you no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to hide from him.
Right. And Frank is like, no, he's real. He's definitely real. He's not a fiction. Frank is like, she saw my face. Why the fuck did you take her blindfold off? And if she saw his face, she could potentially identify Frank. Frank could potentially identify everybody else.
Yeah.
Thanks to Joey doing her little reading people trick. He now knows details about everybody else. Probably enough. So they got to kill her. And I mean, okay, they're monsters. They're aboard. They abducted a little girl, and now they're going to murder her because she saw one guy's face. But criminally thinking, yeah, that's what you do. I mean, that's why most kidnappings end in murder, because you can't have somebody identify you.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway.
Well, but then you also got to go kill, what's his name? That
Giancarlo
gave him the names. Yeah, I mean, that's
knows.
Yeah. Well, wait. So at what point does the driver get killed? Because I felt like it was before they went to try to kill her.
They have 2 of these scenes where they're like, what are we going to do now? They have 2 of these scenes of like meeting up and talking about like, should we leave or should we go?
Well, but this is also, this is where they talk about Valdez, the hitman for Lazare, who got into a 10th floor hotel room where there were no entrances or exits and dismembered 3 witnesses.
Right. So at this point, but okay, so then they're talking about whether to leave, and they're weighing the options of leaving versus giving up the money, and essentially what they end up deciding is that the money is worth it. If they can get if they can get away with this, the money is worth it. So then we have this moment of like, okay,
that's where I was getting mixed up. I was thinking they don't go to try to kill her; they just talk about it at this point.
Right. At this point, they're like, okay, Rickles, go to the high point in the house, and with your sniper rifle, make sure nobody approaches. And then Frank sends Joey to kind of snoop around the house, try to find any other way in, because he's afraid like Valdez is here right now.
Yeah.
And so then we get this sequence where Joey is kind of poking around, and the house is creepy. And she's alone, and she hears a noise, and so she goes to try to seek out the source of the noise, and she finds a door ajar, and the door leads to this massive library, which is a wonderful space.
It is.
It's got a large empty central space, lit by a huge circular window, and that has shutters on it. And one of the shutters is kind of loose and flapping, and that's what created the noise that she heard. So she kind of secures that, and then she looks, and directly under that is this massive statue of a father and daughter figure from it looks like late 1600s ish by their dress. And it's very, we'll see this motif of the father-daughter a couple more times at least, in the film. It's directly emblematic of the relationship that ends up being the vampires in the movie. So then she goes up to, she kind of considers that, and then she goes up to visit Rickles up in the crow's nest. And they just have a weird scene of like kind of being flirty with each other, which doesn't come of anything. It doesn't add anything.
I didn't really read it as flirty so much as they recognize that they're both ex-military. Like they have more in common than anybody else.
Okay.
And if they're going to trust anybody, it's going to be each other.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's when they have that conversation. Okay. And then we cut to Sammy watching she's watching cartoon. She's watching a Woody Woodpecker cartoon, which is about a ghost. I didn't look into that because I just don't care for Woody Woodpecker, and I was like, it can't be that important to me.
It was probably in public domain.
It's probably in public domain. It probably has something to do with like an old haunted house or something like that, I'm gonna guess. Also, it adds to the scene because she's watching this, and then she hears a noise. She turns around, and Dean scares her wearing like a spooky mask or something.
Yeah, he was just sitting on the bed behind her, and she didn't know it.
Yeah, and so so then he tries to hook up with her, like just suggests it out of nowhere. And she's like, "Just get the fuck out of here!" Kicks him out of the room. So then we cut to Dean. So then we follow Dean. And he's wandering around, and he wanders past Peter, who has drunk himself to pass out. And being Dean, being a piece of shit, he draws a dick on Peter's face.
Yeah,
or what we found out eventually is a dick. I saw this in the trivia for this one, that they actually they wanted to be able to like see how good of a dick that he would draw, so they had and they knew that like the actor has to draw it because he has to for authenticity. Authenticity is important in a vampire movie.
It is.
So they had the actor, which that's Angus Cloud. He passed before the film released. He's the one that in the end is the in memoriam. They had him draw like 6 to 8 dicks, and then went to the directors and the art department and were like, "Which one do you like? That's the one he'll draw on his face."
Oh, that's awesome. It's important to put the work in to get it right.
You know, authenticity.
If it had been a poorly drawn dick, it would have ruined the whole movie.
What kind of vampire movie would you have if there was a poorly drawn dick on someone's face? So then after he does that, he keeps wandering around more, and he finds this like dark alcove where he finds more artwork of the father and daughter.
Is this that weird room? This is the weird room off of the kitchen.
Yeah, no, it's not that weird cellar space. This is actually like on the first floor, because it's just after he leaves Dean.
Yeah,
or at least Peter.
Like and a lot of this was shot in an actual mansion in Scotland.
Yeah. So it's just like a darkened like turn of the corridor, and there's just this art on the walls, and
right,
and it's chaos and bloodshed and stuff. And then, he doesn't think anything of it. He keeps going. He ends up going downstairs into the kitchen, where he's poking around, and then the door from the kitchen into the cellar opens on its own. And we get a lot of there's a lot of these classic spooky horror movie tropes of like, is anybody there?
Yeah.
Hello, so he gives the full, is anybody there, and then just wanders into the darkness to investigate. And it turns out that it's rats in the cellar, and they scare him. So when he turns to leave, behind him he hears the rat kind of get squished.
Yeah.
And then as he's leaving, something grabs his feet. We don't see it, we only see his face. Something grabs his feet, pulls him out from under him, and pulls him back into the darkness. And he screams, and Sammy hears that over the sound of her cartoons, and she goes to investigate. And, we get the whole, this better not be another trick type of deal from her,
Right.
Because it's Dean. And she hears noises in the cellar. And so she goes in the cellar, she sees the rats, she goes to leave, goes back into the kitchen, and Dean is sitting in a chair. He appears sitting in a chair there.
With his back to her.
She goes to check on him, and his head just falls off. And it's a great little moment.
Yeah. It's a good head.
It's a good gag.
Yeah.
So then she screams, her screams wake Peter, who comes running to help. And then she as on her screams, she's frantically trying to explain to him what happened. Because his immediate thing is like, what did you do to him? She's like, why do you have a dick on your face? It's a good moment. That's the other thing about this movie is like, I feel like because it has this kind of high intensity ultra violence going to it, it's very cartoonish.
Yeah.
And so it retains its sense of humor very well. It's not too grimdark. So then the crew, everybody gathers, everybody, I mean, Dean is there too. Everybody gathers in the kitchen to investigate Headless Dean, and his head was not cut off. It was ripped from his body, which is intense. And that's when we start talking about Valdez. This is when we have the conversation of Valdez, Lazar's primary hitman who rips people apart, and he can get in and out of places without being detected. Nobody knows who he is or what he is or anything. And we get a little bit of like, one of us may be Valdez, because who knows? And then it's like, okay, we need to check on Abigail just to see if she's okay, because if Valdez is here and he's in the house, his first thing would be to secure Abigail.
Oh yeah.
So Joey goes to check on Abigail, so just make sure she's there. There's a great line of I don't want to be one of the richest headless man in America. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
And Abigail's still in her room. She's fine. Nothing wrong with her. She doesn't know anything. So then we go back, and we have the second conversation at the base of the stairs. I think maybe like it might have helped to have conversations in different spaces like this, because like you're right. Like in my memory, they tend to run together. But this is where we have the conversation where Rickles is like, so let's get out of here. Like now, let's go. And it turns out that there's like a gated barrier beyond the door.
Well, this is when all the shutters drop.
Yeah. And when Peter's like, move aside, and he goes to like just like shoulder check it, and it's like, what did you think was going to happen? Like,
no, he's big and strong. He's
big strong boy. So he tries to ram it. It doesn't move. Well, it shakes, and that's about it. And then that triggers the rest of these shutters to snap in place over every window, totally sealing them in.
I think you're right. The conversations tend to run together, but if I had to guess, I would say that they keep coming back there to reconvene because it helps us with the geography of the house. Like,
that's true. That's true.
If every scene was in a different room, we'd never have any sense of where we were.
That's true. That's true. I accept that. It's also just easier, like when Frank comes storming down the stairs, we would meet him at the base of the stairs rather than another room, because the stairs lead directly to the kind of antechamber where that leads to the entrance. So it would be weird if he was like, I'm getting out of here, and went down the stairs and then went into another room to be like, I'm getting out of here. So now we're like, okay, Abigail knows more than she's saying. And she's the only source of information we have. We need to question Abigail, and we need to make sure we get answers. And Joey's like, I can't hurt her. And Peter's like, I can't, because he's the muscle.
Up for it. Yeah, it's his job.
It's not so much that he's like, oh yeah, let's break a little girl in half. He's just sort of like, I can do that. Because
it's his responsibility, and he's not going to hesitate.
Yeah, that's his job. Like you said, like that's what he's there for, essentially. So they go to to see everybody kind of traipse upstairs to see if Abigail knows anything more. Joey wants to stop them, but of course, everybody else is doing this. When they bust in the room, Abigail starts crying and doing the scared little girl routine, and Frank is very upfront, like you know. And she says that Frank told her that he works for her father and he is Valdez. Now that's something. You know what? I think that's not them going to torture her. That's Joey going on her own trying to get information. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Joey goes up to Sarah to get information from her because she's like, I will see what she knows. And that's when she starts to cry. And she's like, Frank said he works for my father and he's Valdez. And Rickles goes up to his sniper spot and finds out his gun has been taken. So there's definitely somebody else there. Joey shows up at the crow's nest and they kind of discuss the situation, and they're like, this doesn't make sense. This is not cool. And they make this plan. They're like, we're both ex-military. We trust each other because we're both ex-military and we can't trust anybody else. I can take out these three. You take out that guy. We'll meet at the bottom and we will sort this out together. Us two. Yeah. Fuck everybody else. And they'll torture the info out of Frank because they're pretty convinced that Frank is the bad guy at this point. And I love it because it's like, okay, break. You go down that side, I'll go down the rear of the house. And Rickles immediately is murdered.
Yeah.
Like she turns around and then it's like gurgling noise. He is fucking dead. His face and throat have been ripped out.
As soon as they've got a plan and some hope.
Yes. It's immediate. So then Joey goes back to the group and is like, she pulls her gun on Frank. And pretty much holds everybody at gunpoint, and there's a standoff of who to trust. Frank gets his gun out at one point and points it at her. That's when they're like, we have to torture Abigail. She knows more than she's saying. And Peter volunteers for it, and he just sort of runs off to go and get Abigail while Frank's got a gun on Joey. And everybody kind of chases after him. Joey kind of chases after him. Everybody chases after her. Everybody who's left ends up going to Abigail's room. Joey wants to protect Abigail, and take down Peter and all that jazz. And then we get up to Abigail's room, and it's just sort of like, oh, by the way, guys, this is a vampire movie. Yeah. Abigail finally like drops the act and just like, while they're all arguing, they're like all arguing about what they're going to do or not going to do. I think Peter's standing there watching her just like pop the cuffs.
Joey's the one. She's watching. She's like, guys. Yeah. Hey, guys.
She's like, pop the cuffs off. Like, okay, guys, this has been fun, but we got to get this shit going here. She's bored with it. And she's a vampire. And then I love it. Frank shoots Abigail directly in the forehead. It is a good shot.
Yeah. Like
right between the eyes. Pow. Down she fucking goes. And they're like, shit. Because I think she attack? She tries to attack.
She jumped
somebody.
on Peter, and I don't think she doesn't bite him.
She doesn't bite him, but
she does stab the shit out of his chest with like
with the cross. That happens later.
Yeah, isn't it? I thought it was in this scene.
No, it happens a little bit later when they know she's a vampire and they've geared up to vampire fight.
Oh, okay.
I think she just sort of like jumps on him, and Frank just reacts because he already has his gun out, and just shoots her in the head. And she goes down, and then the bullet wound just instantly heals, and she gets back up.
Yeah. Well, she does before she jumps him, right? She does the bow on the bed, and then looks up and has the
ballerina
teeth
thing. Yes, and that's something that I was reading. They did very intentionally. They didn't want to do the kind of discreet fangs.
No,
they wanted it to be like a shark's mouth.
Yeah, something feral and animalistic. Yeah.
And it really works because it's instantly identifiable. They do contacts or something to the eyes to make them look more animalistic and bestial, and definitely not human.
You know, the violence is so like visceral and like people getting shredded and ripped up and parts torn off. And, you know, those are the teeth of a thing that does that.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, it's very, So then everybody kind of like scrambles to get out of the room. Joey ends up like almost emptying a clip into her, and it doesn't even slow her down at this point. No. She just keeps coming. And they get the door closed and lock it, and it's just like, this is not gonna last long. We gotta figure something out. So then back to the bottom of the stairs where we plan things out, and it's just like, okay, vampires are real. Uh-huh. What do we know about
and
vampires?
This is the first direct reference to Dusk Till Dawn, because that's what Clooney says. Okay, what do we know about vampires?
Yes,
they do the same meeting.
And Peter, it's also a cute gag that Peter's kind of stupid, and he needs it explained to him, like, she is Valdez, you idiot. Like, he's like, and Valdez? Jeez, what are we gonna do? Like, dude. So then they're like, well, is there any way to get out? And they go to, and they're like, Sammy? And she's like, maybe if I can find the control room, I can undo this lock and get us out of here.
Well, no, at first she says no. At first she's like, what is there to hack into? Like, I don't have what am I going to do it with?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's this round robin of what do we know about vampires? And Peter doesn't want to believe that they are vampires. And Frank threatens him at one point. So then Frank tells him, like, Peter, go and make steaks from the pool cues. Sammy, go to the kitchen and find us garlic.
Yeah.
And Sammy comes back with a bag of onions. And he's like, I don't cook.
Sammy's a rich kid.
Yeah.
She's just there for a good time, and she doesn't know how to do things.
Yeah. It's a very cute moment. And so, like, everybody's like, we'll all go down to the fucking kitchen and we'll all get the goddamn garlic. And then we're going to go and take out Abigail. So then they go back to Abigail's room to attack her. And the room is empty. Because of course it is. And so then they hear the ballet music coming from somewhere else in the house, and they follow it. They end up in this music room that has a small stage on it. And they find Abigail dancing with Dean's headless body, which is tremendous. It's just tremendous. And when Abigail notices them, she pretends to be afraid and drops his body and everything. And of course, at this point, they're not buying it. Sammy immediately attacks her. She's got like garlic on her, and Abigail just sort of rips the garlic off of her, like, no, that's not going to work. Abigail tackles her, and Peter grabs Abigail and pulls her off of Sammy. But Abigail immediately turns around, grabs the cross. That's when she grabs the cross that's around his neck.
Yes.
And just like stabs him over and over again on the chest and neck.
Yeah, just tiny little
cross,
shallow stabs.
Shitty cuts. Yeah. So
perforates him.
So crosses don't work. And then Frank tries to come at her with a stake, and she grabs the stake off of him and just puts it through his thigh.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of just fuck with him. And that's when we retreat from the room. Like, okay,
run away.
None of that worked. And so they regroup, and like Joey treats Frank's leg wound, and they're trying to figure out what to do now. She didn't accompany them on this vampire hunt because she was like, I don't think we should bother trying to kill her at all. I think we should just find a way out.
Yeah,
and
she's like, good luck.
Yeah, when they come back, they're like, don't say I told you so. And it's just clear, like, because she let them leave and she had totally had the upper hand, that Abigail is really just fucking with them. She's just toying with them at this point. And Joey suggests that they do know one thing that does work against her, which is they drugged her when they kidnapped her.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, well, she could have been pretending. She's been pretending all along. And then she's like, no, I checked her heartbeat. I checked her respiration. She was under. Yeah. So, and it's honestly, it's like, what else have you got to try at this point? Like,
well, yeah, but also, do I trust that she knows for sure that Abigail can't control her breathing and heartbeat, that she can't,
right, exactly.
You know, she has physical abilities beyond anything any of them thought were possible already. So,
right. But I'm like, I think there is a certain, I take it as almost like, because this movie has this certain sense of like dark humor to it, we're not going to put our characters in an utterly hopeless situation like that. We're not going to take the rug out from under them on everything.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Like, it's a constant series of, let's try this plan. Fuck, that didn't work. Let's try this plan. Fuck, that didn't work.
Right. So it would, for that not to work would be, I think it would be a step too far. Like, we have to give them some kind of MacGuffin to kind of reach towards.
Yeah, they always need hope, but they're also the kind of people, at least Frank and Joey are specifically the kind of people that are always going to try to work the problem.
Right. So then we're like, okay, let's do this. We're going to hunt her again. This time we don't know where she is, so let's split up. Because it's a horror movie.
And this is where the tactics fall apart for me. But it's in every horror movie. You can't do these movies if everybody says, you know what, let's find a room with only one door and all of us stay in there and shove all the furniture in front of that door.
Yeah.
And because then nothing happens.
Yeah,
nothing happens in the
center
whole
of
movie.
the room. Yeah, we'll stand in the center of the room with our backs to each other in a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Joey goes to the music room. Peter is not even bothering. He's just drinking more. And they're kind of talking over their radios, and Peter finally gets the Rat Pack reference of their names. It's a cute moment. And then we see Sammy finds a small box that looks vaguely child coffinish.
Yeah.
And we get a little, spooky scare moment when she goes to open it. It turns out it's just sort of like a chest. It just has like blankets in it and junk. And then she gets scared by a rat and kind of like freaks out a little, stumbles away, stumbles through some spider webs, and ends up in, this is one of my favorite things, and I wish they had made bigger deal out of it, a literal dead pool. Like,
yes,
a pool, an empty pool that is filled with dead bodies.
Yeah.
And when I say filled, like filled,
like,
and various states of decay.
Like, it has a deep end, it has a shallow end, it is full.
It is overflowing with dead bodies, and she's
swimming
into
in them.
it. Yes. Oh, it's so gross.
Oh, and for the rest of the movie, she's covered in the goo.
In the goo.
And nobody, you know what? This is a vampire movie, and where I fail to suspend my disbelief is that nobody's reacting to the way she smells after this scene.
I know. I think if you really look at her, she gets slightly less gook on her as each scene progresses past this point, just to kind of get us to like
she can't just be caked. But
I would have taken like at least like, give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna go wash my hair, rinse my hair off in the sink. You know what I mean? Like,
just walk into a shower fully dressed. Just do something. Like
that's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. She swims in it, Chris.
Oh. And it's great. Like, the bodies are realistic.
It's tremendous.
It looks like a swimming pool full of fucking dead bodies.
Yes. So then we get this sequence of like the hunter becoming the hunted. Peter, playing with his steak, gets a splinter in his finger and makes a little squeak, and makes a noise over the radio, and everybody's like, "What? Did you find her? What is she?" And he's like, "No, I got a splinter." Yeah, it's a big one. Jeez. And while Sammy's like freaking out about swimming in a pool of dead bodies.
Yeah. So I read in somewhere, maybe the IMDb trivia, but I never went back to look for it. But I guess when you see Peter, if you look really close, way back in the dark, you can see Abigail just waiting.
There's a couple of scenes like that where it's like you can see her waiting to come out, which I don't mind because it works for the story. Like, she would be. Abigail finds him while they're trying to go and help Sammy. It's great because Frank's like, what are we talking, like 2-3 bodies? Like, no, dude, a pool full of.
And it's the first time you get the full scale of like, this is Abigail's playground.
Yes, and how long she has been doing this and how good she is at it.
This house has been basically remodeled just to trap people in for her to fuck with.
Yes. It's nuts. So Abigail chases Peter. He slams the door shut between them. She goes through the door. Frank comes running out of a door in front of him and accidentally knocks Peter like down the center of the stairwell.
Oh yeah, that's a rough fall.
It's like 1.5 stories or something. He falls down. He just lands full on his back. And Abigail, now up there with Frank in front of her, targets Frank.
And he's limping. He can't move fast because of the stake through his leg.
Sammy shows up at the bottom of the stairs. Abigail hits Frank and he falls down the stairs, and then she jumps on him and starts choking him. Sammy grabs her arm around Abigail and tries to pull her off. Abigail bites her arm, and that's the first time that we've seen somebody get bitten specifically.
Yeah.
And then Abigail starts to levitate up the stairs, holding onto Frank's leg, and it's just like, oh shit, vampires can fly in this world. That's quite the reveal. And so she starts to levitate up, and there's a great thing, like, Peter comes launching out, like, just flying tackle nails Abigail and slams her back into the ground, and he's holding her down while she struggles, and then Joey tries to show up with the syringe. It gets knocked out of her hand, and it falls behind, like, a grating of a door. She's trying to struggle to grab it through the grating of the door. So there's a little business with that. Finally she gets it and she injects Abigail and it works. She knocks her out. And then it's a big sigh of relief moment where it's like, oh, she's out. Ooh. but Sammy got bitten, and we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So then when Abigail comes to, she's in this. There's like a disused elevator in the kind of dirt cellar area that's beyond the kitchen.
Yeah, but like a cool AIP elevator.
Yeah, it's
nobody
like,
knows what that means. It's a cage elevator.
It's essentially a giant metal cage.
Yeah, it's a steel cage with like the collapsing doors.
Yeah, and so they've got her in there, and they're gonna interrogate her. And Frank opens up with, "We're sorry. Let's make this right." Like, that was never going to be one of the options. And Sammy just wants to know what it means that she was bitten. And Abigail, of course, is loving all of this because I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. Well, and it's great because they have played with the rules.
Yes.
So vampires have a heartbeat. Drugs work on them. Bullets don't. Crosses don't. Garlic doesn't.
Right.
They can fucking fly.
They can fly.
But so what are the transformation requirements?
Yeah. There are some...
What does a bite do?
They are super strong and super durable, but not it's not necessarily an extreme. Like, she's able to fly and start to drag Frank back up the stairs, but Peter's able to hold her down, pinned to the ground.
Yeah, he says he can't hold her forever. We know that eventually she's going to overpower him, but
she can't fly with him holding her down.
She isn't maybe stronger than him technically, but she does have more endurance. She's going to last.
Right. She's at least on the level.
Yeah, her strength will not fade.
Right. Yeah, she has no issues with longevity as far as she's not going to get tired. Okay, so then we end up with Abigail is locked in this cage in the basement, and we're going to interrogate her. Frank tries to tell her that they're sorry and see if there's some basically can we make a deal and get the fuck out of here, and that's just not going to happen. Abigail is in charge of the situation as she could be. Sammy wants to know what it means that she's been bitten. Obviously, Abigail's not going to tell her that because what fun would that be? And it just becomes clear that Abigail has in fact been the orchestrator of everything. She's the one that had Lambert organize this crew. And as it turns out...
Yeah, nothing has happened that she did not intend or allow.
And as it turns out, they all have connections back to Lazar's mob.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy is a hacker. She stole money from the mob. Peter was Muscle, who stole from his crew after a job. That crew worked for the mob. Frank was an undercover cop who infiltrated the mob. He arrested 3 high-level lieutenants. And the story he told about the lieutenants being about these 3, informants being killed, that was his informants. As it turns out,
he didn't even tell the story, but somebody else did and said, and everybody's like, no, that's bullshit. And Frank was the one that was like, no, that's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, it happened to him. So then he went on the run. And Joey, she was an opioid addicted army medic. She became an underground doc to feed her addiction. And she ended up operating on one of the mob people high and botched bullet removal, and the guy died.
Yeah, and it was somebody really important to the operation.
Right, and so she went on the run. Abandoning her son while she did so. That becomes important later on. And then Abigail, I love this. This is such a twisted fucking thing to do. Abigail gives them a deal. Let me out and 2 of you will get to live.
Yeah.
Not saying which 2, but 2 of you.
And that's like Peter's the one that's like, which 2?
And it's not even like, at that point, she's not even like, the one who lets me out will be one of them. Just which, 2 of you will get to live. And then she's like, that's expired. Now only the person who lets me out gets to live.
Yeah.
And Peter immediately goes for it because he's like, I got to take whatever chance I can fucking get to live out from this shit. And then Joey's like, if you let her out, I will shoot you. And so he goes to let her out, and so she shoots him.
Yeah.
Shoot her a word. But she's like, it's fine. You're just grazed. It's cool. Hey, come on, let's go and treat it.
She's the medic. She knows where to shoot a guy.
Yeah. And so they're like, Frank tries to leave Sammy to babysit Abigail, and she refuses. So they leave Abigail with Frank, which I could have told you was a bad idea. You can't trust either of those motherfuckers. So then Abigail promises to tell Frank that if she lets him out, she'll tell him how to get out of the house. And Frank says, okay, I will let you out. Tell me how to get out. And she tells him that there's a secret door in the library if you pull the book, and then there were none. And then Frank predictably doesn't keep his end of the bargain. This is the moment this is a digression, but it's a good one. So the book she tells him to pull is And Then There Were None, which is a mystery novel, an early mystery novel by Agatha Christie.
Right.
I'm a big Agatha Christie fan. So it's a closed room. This is interesting. The plot of And Then There Were None. First of all, the book is not called And Then There Were None, as it turns out. It's originally was originally published as 10 Little N-Words in England. Based on and the title And Then There Were None comes from this. It's based on this. There's a rhyme in the book. It's like 10 little Indians, and then one of them kills another, and then one of them kills another, one of them kills another, and then there was only one left, and then he kills himself, and then there were none.
Yeah.
And it mirrors like it's the plot is that like a group of strangers are brought together in a remote location. Somebody starts killing people off. It turns out that they were all kind of wronged this same person at one point in their lives. And they don't know, one of the people that has been gathered there is clearly the killer, and they don't know who to trust. So you can see the parallels.
Right.
It was published in America. It was released as 10 Little Indians, and then a film version was made in 43, I think. Black and white film version, very good in my opinion. And that was titled And Then There Was None. And then there was a remake of that in the 60s, and that popularized the title And Then There Was None. So the book was re-released as And Then There Were None. In the 70s. So when he goes to the library and finds this kind of leather-bound fancy edition of And Then There Were None, I'm like, bullshit. Unless that was like a collector's Christie like Agatha Christie version from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist. But I found the parallels interesting in terms of like the story, because there is a moment earlier in the story where like, well, who is Valdez? We don't know. And I wondered if it maybe points to an older version of the script where the mystery of who is the vampire was maybe strung out a little bit more.
Well, maybe.
Because as it stands, the film kind of takes great pains to not bring up vampire anything until we kind of get that reveal of Abigail.
Right.
And then somewhere along the way in development, it was like, nah, we know what this movie is. It's not really a mystery. We can go ahead and market it as the vampire ballerina movie, you know.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that they built in a twist that they gave away in the trailer, but I understand why, you've got to say what kind of movie it is.
Right. Otherwise a vampire is going to show up and people are like, why is there an undead creature in my murder mystery?
Yeah. Which a lot of people, as good as it was and as many rave reviews as there were, a lot of people had that issue with Longlegs. That they expected Silence of the Lambs.
And there's a late supernatural element.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I dig it. I just feel like, and I have no problem with how they did it. I think like you say, like the trailer revealed it, the poster reveals it.
Oh yeah.
I think they made a very big effort to make sure going into it, you knew what kind of movie it was.
Well, and when you've got such a striking like image of like a little girl ballerina covered in blood with monster teeth.
Yeah.
How do you not use that?
And I'm sure there was probably even points where the script changed, where the reveal got moved up and moved up and moved up to the point where it's now like the first third of the script ends with the reveal of Abigail as the vampire. I just think it's interesting to see that kind of the onion layers peel back, and it's like this might have been And Then There Were None, but with a vampire.
Yeah.
And that would have been that's also, and I could see somebody writing it being like, that's an interesting concept. And then getting to a certain point being like, yeah, but then she rips his head off, and that's fun.
Yeah. You at a certain point, you figure out it's a different tone than what you thought it was when you started.
Yeah.
And
I mean, no marks on the movie as it is. I think it works as it is. And I'm sure those earlier versions were abandoned for good reason. Yeah. I just thought it was neat because like I said, like there was elements that they kind of threw in there and that parallel that by the time the title And Then There Were None is revealed, they've already gotten rid of that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, these guys made Ready or Not, and they didn't telegraph the supernatural twist at the end of that one either.
That's true.
In fact, there is nothing supernatural until at the very end,
like
people start exploding.
5 minutes in the movie, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so I thought it was an interesting kind of rabbit hole to go down. Anytime that somebody brings up another work within a film, I always want to okay, there's a reason to bring that specific title up. Let's get into it. So then,
well, like you were saying, there may be more to that Woody Woodpecker cartoon too.
Right. It's all about the subtext. So then Frank doesn't let her out of the cage. And Abigail just reveals that she just knocks the whole wall of the cage off.
Yeah.
It
It
reveals
just
that-
once again.
Yeah, she's actually in charge. They never really had her captured. She's just toying with them. She knocks.
Which again makes me wonder if the drugs worked, or if she just again allowed the drugs to work so that they would think they had the upper hand.
It's possible. It's possible, and the movie's not gonna say.
No.
And it really, honestly, it's a moot point either way.
It is.
It doesn't change there's no massive change to the situation while she's,
unless they had, made a real attempt to kill her while she was unconscious.
Right. Which they probably should have.
Yeah.
That would have been the smart move.
Should have taken her head off and seen what happened.
Yeah. So then Joey shows. So she knocks the wall off the cage, knocks Frank down, and is attacking him. Joey shows back up. And instead of helping Frank, she goes to the window and pulls panels off the window. And apparently it's daylight outside because the sunlight comes streaming in. It strikes Abigail's hand and her hand explodes.
Yeah, it's great.
It's tremendous.
It's so good.
I love vampires explode in this. But so she's injured and frees Frank. And they kind of have a moment where they see that her hand is starting to regenerate, like the flesh is pushing through and stuff like that.
Yeah, already.
And it's wild. So then they retreat to the library, and now we're holed up in the library, essentially just hiding in the giant, like the giant circular windows letting the sun in. We're hiding in that sun patch.
Yep.
That's what we're doing. So in the library, Sammy tries putting her hand in the sunlight just to see if anything will happen, and nothing does. There's no reaction. So whatever the bite did, it hasn't done it yet. Frank then goes and tries to and finds the and then there were none book, and it does not work. Of course, it doesn't work. She was lying. Of course, she was lying too.
And he's so confident.
He's a dick. He's such a dick. And he kind of freaks out a little bit. And then Joey's like, "You guys hide in the light. I'm gonna go through this wall." And they're like, "You're never going to break through the wall." And she's like, "I'm going to go through the wall." And then we hard cut to time has passed, and she is not getting through that wall.
No, nobody's getting through the wall.
So she gives up, and we reveal that she has run out of candy, which is pretty bad. And then we have this moment where we all talk about how Joey left her son behind, because Abigail mentioned kind of casually that she had abandoned her son.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that it's not even a thing of like, I wanted to get clean before I saw him again. She got clean and still didn't go back for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and Frank is like, it's always, she's like, now, once I get this, I was going to get this money. And then once I had the money, we could hit a reset and I could go back for him. And Frank's like, and Frank actually is deeply cynical. Frank actually has a point where he's like, just go and if you want to go and be his mother, you have to go and be his mother. Like this whole like looking for something else to do before you do that is just an excuse to not do it.
Yeah. And he knows because he ran away from his family.
Yeah, completely abandoned his entire family. So using the term reset sparks something in Sammy, who's like, if we can find the main power to the house, we can try to cut the power and then start it back up. And that should reset the system.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
So, but I mean, like you said, like they need a MacGuffin. They need something to chase.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, let's go find the power. And the only one who does like Frank is like, well, I'm not going with her because she got bitten. We don't know what's going to happen with her. And so Peter volunteers to go with her. Because Peter and Sammy kind of have a thing. And then we get this scene with Sammy and Peter heading down this hallway. I'm not sure how to define this hallway. It's kind of I got like a disused conservatory vibe from it.
Oh yeah, it's kind of it seems sort of overgrown. It's got like boarded up windows, but
Right.
some lights come,
But it's not
Yeah.
like it's not a wide space. It's like a corridor that ends in a small room.
Yeah, I felt like it was almost like an attic with a lot of windows.
Okay.
Like it felt unfinished.
Right. Just the proliferation, all the plants around.
Yeah.
Made it
that's
feel
what
like is this like was a green space at some point or
Yeah.
I don't know. So there, but it's It's all boarded up, like you said, and the boards are kind of haphazard, like little cracks of light are squeezing through. And Peter is trying to give Sammy a pep talk, and Sammy behind him starts to turn vampire.
Yeah. Her bite heals up.
Yes, and she begins to hear Abigail's voice in her head. And then we have like it just kind of like it happens very quick where like suddenly now Abigail is in control and Sammy is fully her puppet.
And they gave her the eyes.
They gave her Abigail's kind of like ice blue eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sammy kind of vanishes into the shadows. Peter's looking around for her, can't find her, and then she just sort of leaps out and attacks him, rips out his throat. And we cut to Abigail in the music room, and we see that it is the control she has is like directly puppeteering her. Sammy is mimicking Abigail's movements exactly. Which it turned out, Abigail starts to dance, so Sammy starts to dance. It turns out that the actress who plays Sammy, she just had like ballet training.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well then you guys can both do the same dance. And
but Abigail did not have ballet training until before this, but she had a lot of dance background, so she picked up the ballet like real fast.
Yeah, so it makes a nice moment where they were able to show those parallels, and it's a great moment. It's very cool.
Well, and to be able to do that without doubles is incredible.
Yes,
to have actors with the actual physical ability.
Yes, that's awesome. So then Joey and Frank show up to rescue because they think Sammy's being attacked. They think she's found Abigail. And briefly, Sammy fakes her innocence, but they can see like the little cracks of like light that are coming in are causing her to smoke.
But also her like fake innocence is like Evil Deadite fake innocence.
Yes.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah, something I don't know.
Somebody got him.
And then
with the back turned so you can't see the
so you can see the fangs.
Yeah.
So then Joey Joey and Frank run, and Sammy chases them into the library. They end up hiding in the light, and then Joey uses a silver tray that Sammy was using earlier to see her reflection in, to reflect the sunlight into Sammy, and Sammy explodes. Again, vampires die in this, and they explode. And like somebody put an M80 in the middle of a pack of hamburger.
Yeah. Well, they apparently the directors, anytime anybody asked if it was enough blood, they were like, double it. Like just
that's what you got to do.
Paint the house with it.
I love it. So then we from there we get this kind of where the final kind of showdown starts to build. A hidden door in the library pops open, apropos of nothing. And it's like, that's obviously a trap, but also what else do we have to do?
Gotta go through.
So it leads to a secret passage, which leads to the house control room, as it turns out. And while we're heading towards the control room, we actually get like snippets of audio from earlier in the film, like people talking and everything, just to let us know, like, okay, there's this room, there's cameras in the room, we've been recording what's going on, just setting up the whole like the control room aspect of it.
It's all been monitored.
Yes. And in the control room, we find Lambert. And Lambert reveals that he has been a vampire the entire time. And so then he grabs Joey and he makes Frank an offer. And his offer is that he's tired of working for Lazar and Abigail. They're just ultra demanding, and he's just their vampire drone, and he doesn't want to do it anymore. So his offer is he'll turn Frank into a vampire, and then they can team up and take over the entirety of the mob, like take down both Lazar and Abigail. And Frank, like I don't want to be a puppet like Sammy was, and he reassures him, like, no, I will make you a full vampire.
And here we get the rules of transformation.
Exactly. And so then Lambert drops Joey, bites Frank, and then drains some of his blood, and then gives Frank some of his blood,
which is the classic
vampire.
I mean, that's you've got to drink.
Yes, I drink of you, you drink of me, and the exchange is complete. I love this,
and the exchange is gross.
It's gross. It's very bloody. And then Frank, literally, it seems to me like if Frank becomes a vampire, all of the blood in his body he vomits out.
Yeah.
Like he vomits up
Like gallons.
like a lot of blood for a long time.
Yeah. It's like
I just found
Team
that-
America puppet puke, where it just keeps going.
I found it amazing. I was like, I also like this aspect of what vampires are in this world, that like, if you become a vampire, your body rejects all of your blood right now.
I like gross vampires. Like I like 30 Days a Night.
Bestial.
You know,
Bestial vampires.
bestial. Yeah, like they're gonna get covered in blood.
Yeah.
They're gonna rip things apart. And they're gonna.
Yeah, no discreet 2 little puncture wound type things.
Yeah, no, it's not. They're not seducing anyone really. They're ripping through people.
They are monsters.
They are monsters.
Yes. And I also enjoy that too. I think that's like, because if they're so superior in strength and durability and everything, then they would be like, why wouldn't they be abusive, horrible creatures?
Yeah.
So then Frank gets up and he feels great. He signifies that he has finished his transition by taking off his glasses.
Yeah.
And then
The glasses were Dan Stevens' idea.
yeah, and it works.
The character didn't originally have them. He decided that they fit the character.
That's awesome. And then it works really well, because then it does give us that moment where he takes off the glasses and he's like, I have achieved my perfect form. And Frank then kills Lambert.
Yeah.
Because
he's a double-crossing asshole.
he's a double-crossing asshole. Why would anybody trust him? And he tells Joey to run, because it'll be entertaining for him to hunt her down.
Yeah, but she has gotten her phone by now. All the didn't she? All the phones were in the control room. This is when she grabs it.
Is this when she? I know it's in the sequence, but somewhere. But yeah. So she got her phone and she unlocks the house. But at this point,
Yeah.
Abigail shows back up, and she attacks Frank. And Frank actually overpowers her and begins to feed on her. And Joey takes the opportunity to run. She goes back to the secret passage and everything, but the secret door that led in from the library is locked with and not just locked with like an iron ringlet. Like, it is locked.
Oh yeah.
And there's just no way out. And so she kind of collapses on the floor and calls her son and ends up getting his voicemail and leaves him a tearful goodbye message. And then Frank shows up and he's enjoying seeing her suffer and die. Is the bottom line of this entire exchange. He kind of just kicks the door open and throws Joey out into the library. And I wrote in my notes, he really just starts throwing her around, because that's all he's doing is picking her up and throwing her across this massive room.
And sometimes that sort of thing bothers me, because it's like, I get it, you want to toy with him, but I also realize that he just got these powers. Like, he's probably just really enjoying that he's capable of chucking a human being up onto the balcony.
Right. Right. No, it's, I mean, part of it is we talked about it on Evil Dead, like the Ash versus everybody else thing, where it's like, everybody else is a quick murder. Ash, punch him. Like, we're not going to do something that's actually going to kill her because she's our final girl, so we'll just throw her around. The other thing is that it's because he doesn't just toss her around. He's throwing her with such force that she's not only going up onto the balcony, she's hitting the wall and breaking the walls up on the balcony. It's something like that in a movie you can kind of see a character dust themselves off and get back up and get ready to fight again. In reality, that's like ribs and legs and tons of broken bones.
Getting hit by a truck.
Yeah. That's crazy talk. There's all sorts of your internal organs are bleeding. It's lunacy, but that's what we're doing. So that's fine. He gets up and he's throwing her around the room. She can't really fight back effectively. Every time she tries to fight back, it just does not work. He just starts. He's strong enough that he can resist anything that she's doing to him. And he tells her he's going to make her his puppet, like Sammy was Abigail's puppet, and then make her kill her son. So it's not even about killing her or not liking her or anything. It's this malicious evil of him that he wants to make her suffer first.
He's cruel.
Yeah, he's sadistic. And then Abigail shows up, and she isn't strong enough to fight Frank on her own. So she makes a deal with Joey that if she helps him take down Frank, she'll let her live. And So he's fighting Abigail. Joey comes up and tries to stab him with like a fireplace poker. He immediately like gets the poker off of her. It's the kind of thing like he gets one in kind of like a chokehold or something, ready to kill them, and then the other one attacks him. And then he has to divert his attention. And he doesn't care about the fact that he's not finishing one or the other off because he's just enjoying being like overpoweringly strong. So he gets the
he likes the fight.
Yeah, he gets the fireplace poker out of her. He grabs it off of her and he uses it to stab through her shoulder into a column in the room, pinning her there. Stick around. And once she's pinned, now he can focus on getting the best of Abigail, and he starts to drain her of all her blood. Abigail specifically tells him actually that if he drains her of all of his, if you drain them of all their blood, they'll die. Which I don't know if she did that just to kind of get him to think that he should do that, because it doesn't seem to be true.
Well, because he drank a bunch and it made her weak,
right.
And then she comes back and she's like, "You got to take it all," you know?
Right. So he starts to drain her blood, and then as he's kind of doing it, Abigail manages to like stick up her pinky, like reminding Joey of the pinky promise that she made. And Frank kind of sees the moment they have, the connection they have, and he drops Abigail and decides he's going to leave her alive because it'd be more fun to have Joey kill her instead. And that way it's like, first you kill your surrogate child, then you kill your real child. Won't that be fun? So he drops her and he pulls Joey off the poker the hard way. Like he pulls her over through the handle. Like it's just, and he bites her. And he now assumes that since he bit her, but he didn't drain her or whatever, she must now be his puppet, because that seems to be what happened with Sammy. And so he like drops a steak in front of her, tells her, pick up the steak. So she picks up the steak, get up on your feet and go and kill her. She gets up on her feet, but then she just turns to face him because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And Abigail reveals that you have to be alive for quite some time before you get to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, you don't get the cool stuff right out of the gate.
Yeah. So they work together, Abigail and Joey, and they manage to drive the stake through Frank's heart. He explodes. It's very satisfying. And I just like, I just wrote in my notes, like, holy shit, vampires explode when they die, and that is rad. It is rad every time, and I love it. So then we get a little bit of almost like an afterword where Abigail tells Joey, like, don't worry, since he bit you and he's dead, you cannot turn into a vampire. And like we were saying about the rules, I don't know if that means that if you kill the vampire that turns you, you turn human, or if as long as you haven't turned yet, you get to stay human.
Well, it took a while for Sammy to
It did.
To turn, so I think,
and we don't know actually if it took time for Sammy to turn, or if it was something like once Abigail's bitten her, she has to turn her. Like it might have been
like Abigail was waiting to trigger it at the right moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that it's important at all.
No.
The fact is that Joey will not become a vampire. It's fine. And we had this little bit of moment where it's like, it's just sort of awkward. Because it's like, okay, I guess I'll go now. And when Joey goes to leave, Lazar finally shows up. Now we get this little moment with Lazar, and it's, like I said, it's Matthew Good playing Lazar. And it's fun for me because Matthew Lazar also plays the vampire in the TV series A Discovery of Witches.
Yeah, we watched that.
It's just fun to see him playing like an evil version of his character from that.
Well, he's so much scarier as Lazar. I mean, I liked Discovery of Witches, and it was cool when he'd kind of like flex up and remind people that he was a badass.
He was in fact a creature, yes.
Yeah, but in this, that's all he is.
Yeah,
like he's full-time intimidating.
Right. It's cool.
But he's also Ozymandias in Watchmen, and so he does that like.
Oh my God, that guy was Ozymandias in Watchmen.
Fuck yeah, he was, and he does that like superior, powerful. Like, he has that. He carries himself like that.
Yeah.
He does that really well.
Yeah, for sure. He's great. I like no notes on his performance. He's tremendous.
No.
It's neat that he comes in so late. I remember reading in the trivia that there was debate whether or not they should have him in or not, even.
Uh-huh.
Because they weren't sure if you needed him or whatever. I'm glad that they put him in there because it's cool to have this moment of like, okay, we won, and then immediately have this like reminder, like the world's bigger than you.
Yeah. And the only reason you get to live is because you helped.
Yeah,
like,
you've been allowed to live.
Yeah.
It's a nice moment. We also get we get a little bit of business between Lazar and Abigail where we get to see, you know, he's a jerk. And and Abigail like defends Joey like, no, you can't kill her. She actually helped me. I wouldn't have lived without her. And you are a bad dad. More or less. And I don't think it's a moment that's like, oh, Lazar's had a change of heart and now they're going to be a better father-daughter. But
No.
at least I think it's like for the moment, he likes her more, which is about the best you're going to get.
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't make it explicit, but it's pretty clear that a couple hundred years ago, he kidnapped a little girl and bit her and turned her because he wanted a daughter.
Because he wanted a daughter.
And so he probably killed her family. Like, we don't know.
Right.
But he did that, and then eventually she didn't age. He didn't raise a daughter. He just suddenly had a vampire kid.
Yeah.
And
she's a wild, savage beast.
Yeah, and in reality, she's older than everybody else in this movie together.
Right.
And not actually a little girl.
Right.
You know, just only in...
Right. And that kind of, I've heard it referred to as a terrible child in vampire lore.
Yeah.
That we've got a lot of groundwork on that and the problems inherent in that.
Yeah. But also just their dynamic. He obviously cares about her to an extent.
Right.
She is someone that he will protect and take care of, but he's not interested really in interacting with her too much.
Right. And it is a kind of a thing where it's like he cares about her, but not the way that a parent cares about a child. Like he does.
No.
It is a kind of, she is a precious object to him, but she is still just an object.
And I think he appreciates, you know, what she is. Like he appreciates the work she does as Valdez.
Sure.
Like
but the idea that she formed this bond with Joey and that she should be allowed to live because she helped her save her life is all. You get the feeling it's almost just amusing to him.
It is, but it still works. I mean, he respects her enough.
For sure.
He cares and respects.
And it's
cares
like,
about and respects Abigail enough
ultimately
to give her that.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, he doesn't actually care whether Joey lives or dies.
No, he doesn't.
So it's if it makes her happy, then sure, that's fun.
Yeah, and he may be indifferent towards Abigail, but he's not spiteful or cruel towards her.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's a nice little moment. We get a little bit of the weird, darkly complex nature of their relationship.
Yeah.
And it really does, like, in retrospect and seeing it again like all the images of her and her father that we see, it's just very clear he's this like big imposing figure and she is just this like collectible figurine that's on his shelf.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like he's very happy to have her, but he doesn't care about anything to any real extent. So yeah, ultimately Lazar lets Joey leave. And so we get the little moment of Joey like stumbles out of the house, gets in the van. She reaches in her pocket and finds the sucker that she in from the very beginning of the movie, and puts it in her mouth and drives off. Presumably with the intention of going to her son.
Hopefully to a shower first, because
good Lord, yes, medical attention at the least. She did get that poker all the way through her shoulder.
Well, yeah, but she's also just covered in the exploded remains of several vampires at this point.
There's been a lot of grue. There's been a ton of gore, yes. Yeah. It's a fun movie. I highly enjoyed it when I saw it the first time. I enjoyed it even more watching it again.
Yeah, I did too. I remembered a lot. Like it just came out last year. We watched it as soon as it was available on VOD. And then I watched it again, I guess last week. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I loved Ready or Not. I didn't realize that it was the same people until I started looking into this.
Right.
But I see it now.
Yeah.
You know? And apparently one of the portraits in the house is
one of the
family from
members.
Ready or Not.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that connective tissue. I could even see with Ready or Not having that like 10th hour supernatural aspect to it. I could see this being a shared universe.
Oh yeah.
And which would be fun. I don't know where you would go with that, but it would be cool.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I highly recommend Abigail to anybody that's a fan of the genre. Like I said, like it's interesting to see this degree of this cartoonish degree of gore in a mainstream film. What is essentially a
Yeah.
mainstream film. I think it's as a horror fan, I like that. I like I like lemonade in my iced tea and iced tea in my lemonade. You know what I mean? I like all the things to mix and people to have access to all the tools that are available. I remember reading that they specifically wanted the blood to be thicker and the gore to have bits of stuff in it because they wanted it to feel gross and sticky and extra and just extra chunky.
Yeah.
And I think it works
it is.
really well. It works really well. Yeah, it's tremendous.
It is. I mean, it's a really just everything about it technically is super high quality.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it's shot well. Like you said about the geography of the house, I didn't consider it up to this point, but it is very well laid out. I do have a very good mental picture of where at least the major locations are in relation to each other.
Yeah.
And we know the house is sprawling enough that there are some things like random corridors like that could still be like spiraling off or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that you could do
It's
stuff
a
in.
maze when it needs to be a maze.
Yes.
But when we need it to be familiar, it also is familiar.
Definitely. Yeah, great cast. Like I said, I love Dan Stevens. I love him in
Oh, yeah.
everything I see him in.
Everything. And he's in an exorcism movie that's coming out, The Ritual.
Yes, I'm excited to see that. Al Pacino's in it. It's supposed to be based on the actual exorcism case that The Exorcist was based on.
Oh, that was in St. Louis, I think.
Was it? I thought it was in DC.
Maybe it was. No, the movie's in DC, but I think the actual case was in St. Louis.
Okay, I don't know that much
I
about it.
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I haven't.
I do know that when they made The Exorcist, when he wrote the book of The Exorcist, that the major thing that I think that he kept was just the writing on the skin, the kind of classic exorcism type of thing of like messages of help me from the spirit trapped within,
Right.
that appear as raised welts on the skin. So as long as Al Pacino doesn't Al Pacino too hard, it could be interesting. Nothing against Al Pacinoing. I mean,
No, I like watching it.
The
It's
Devil's
just-
Advocate is great, and it's largely because of him.
Yeah, there's just a time and a place for Al Pacinoing.
Elderly foreign priest might not be it.
Yeah, during an exorcism is not the time for Al Pacinoing.
But then we just had the the Pope's Exorcist last year. Was it last?
That
I think
was
last
fun.
year. But it was the same type of thing where you had Russell Crowe, an Italian exorcist priest.
He nailed it though. He was great.
He was good. I can't say anything bad about it. It was a fun movie. It did a really good job. He did a really good job. I think there's rumors of them doing a sequel.
Oh, I think so.
It's well deserved.
And then he was like immediately in another exorcism movie that I don't know anything about, but
I think it was one about the set like of the backdrop of shooting The Exorcist,
or an exorcism movie. But yeah,
something like that. I don't think I saw that one, but Exorcist surprised me because I just kept seeing previews of Russell Crowe doing it in a it's like Super Mario level Italian accent.
it was good though. It worked in the movie. Like it
did.
seemed silly in the
It
the trailers, but then
I enjoyed it. So Abigail, I gave it 9 out of 10 on IMDb. I enjoyed it quite well. What's its current rating? Oh, it's got a 6.5, which sounds.
not-
I mean, IMDb is just really mean to horror. Anytime it's over a 5, people love it. Essentially, is
Right.
what that means.
yeah.
But yeah, that's that. You get what you get.
No, I absolutely loved it, and I hope they do eventually do a sequel. It's
would be
exactly
awesome.
the kind of like well, I mean, it's we love the kind of thing that I think shares DNA with Evil Dead, at least Evil Dead 2
Yes.
and Dead Alive, and the older splatter horror comedy stuff.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of the great grandchild of that sort of thing.
Right, and I think that there is a legacy that you can draw a line from the kind of what we now consider to be the classic kind of franchise slashers of the 80s
Yeah.
to these kind of pseudo horror comedies that we're seeing today. where it's like, okay, we're doing horror, you know, people are getting murdered or whatever, but our tone isn't fully grimdark.
No.
And in modern cinema, I think we're interpreting that as like firmly set in cheek humor.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that because
Well, I do
otherwise
too.
it's tremendously awkward when I laugh when somebody gets their head cut off in a theater. Because I do laugh out loud at some of these gags.
Well, I think another important stop along the way from the 80s to now, as far as striking that balance between horror and comedy,
Sure.
is Shaun of the Dead.
For sure.
Because it's one of the first ones that I can think of that just so perfectly, like the part where his mom dies is actually heartfelt.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like some of the horror is actually scary.
Yeah.
But overall, it's all in a movie that continues to be funny from beginning to end.
I'll say this: it taught us how to laugh at that kind of horror. It's like an instruction manual of like, these are the tropes. It's good to laugh at the tropes.
Yeah.
These are the things that you take seriously.
Mhm.
And you're right. Like, it is a dividing line of like, people started to understand, okay, this is where we can go with that and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Abigail,
So good.
Tremendous.
Abigail.
Let's wrap up.
All right. So next time, we already talked about this.
We
We're gonna
did.
figure it out on air.
Next time
we're gonna do
Yes.
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon. We're getting into sci-fi horror, one of my favorite genres.
Yeah.
Like I love it when it's good. I adore it when it's great, and I absolutely fucking love it when it's bad. Luckily, Event Horizon kind of hits all three.
It does. I feel like, well, you know, obviously we'll get into it, but
Absolutely.
man, I've always loved it. I haven't watched it in a long time. I know from memory that some of the CGI maybe doesn't hold up, and I also know that it got hacked to pieces, that it was
Yes.
originally intended to be much more violent and gory,
Yeah.
and that footage basically just doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah,
We're not even going to get a director's cut.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like I said, I don't want to get too far into it, but
No.
it is. It's been called the first Warhammer 40K movie.
You know, the little bit I know about Warhammer, that does make
It
sense.
does track. We'll get into that when we talk about it. But for right now, I am Joe,
And I'm Chris.
and this has been In the Veins.
In the veins.
There is nothing to worry about. You're gonna be just fine.
You'd be surprised at the things you find when you go looking.
God, it knows I'm here.
Clear your minds. It knows what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
I'm plunging headfirst into some kind of black void of sheer, utter madness.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
It is entitled Naturan de Manto, roughly translated Book of the Dead.
You're gonna die up there.
We've got to return some videotapes.